Hello everyone, Mr MLG here from Mighty Lancer Games, and Mr MLG has asked me to paint his Tomb King's Blood Bowl team. He needed these doing quickly as he's playing Blood Bowl soon and wanted to use this team in the games that he is playing. So we needed them painting quickly, and they are not being painted in my normal style. I don't normally paint this way, but did it for speed. So I thought I would show you how I've painted them and tell you a little bit about them. First of all, these are the paints that I used. I tried to limit my palette. I didn't want to make it overly complicated because, like I said, they are quick, ready for the tabletop, nothing fancy. So these are the paints that I used. That blue one that's just come around there was my highlight paint. I don't know what colour that is because it's so old that the label has worn off. It is a Reaper paint, but basically dark blue, dark red, light red. I used Retribution Armour and some Witch Brew. I used Agrax Earthshade for the Citadel colour. Now that's what I don't normally do. I don't normally use Citadel shades, but that was really cool. I really enjoyed watching that happen, watching that magic, as people call it. Mr MLG also magnetised the bottom of his miniatures so that he can transport them easily. He uses a really useful box, which we sell here at Mighty Lancer Games, and magnetic sheet in the bottom, which we also sell at Mighty Lancer Games. That we did do a video on how he does that, but basically magnetic sheet in the bottom, magnet in the bottom of your mini, really useful box, and then you can carry your miniatures a bit more safely. So that's how he does it. So that's why they've got magnets underneath. So these are the miniatures, these are what they look like, and now I'm going to show you my attempt at painting them and how they came to be looking like this. Here we go, this is the way that I painted these guys. I started off with the Citadel colour base corn red. It's quite a pinky red, I find, and I am naughty in the painting circles, and I'm not even going to water it down. I do normally water down my paints, but on this occasion I wet my paintbrush, which is a colour number 1, and I'm just using it out of the lid, which is like, look at that, double naughty. Not only am I risking it completely falling over, but you know, that goes against everything, doesn't it? So you can shout at me in the comments, that's fine. And all of the cloth parts I am going to paint with this corn red. So as you can see, Mr MLG chose the colour palettes that he wanted. He wanted blue and gold, so we've added some red in as well just to break it up slightly. And these miniatures have this dangly cloth, various parts on them. Oh, that's another thing that I hadn't mentioned before. I did also use Ushanti bone for the wrappings. Forgot about that one. Oh, rubbish, aren't I? I have got the camera right in front of me, which again is a position I don't normally have this camera, so I'm hoping that it's looking okay. As you can see, it has watered down slightly because my paintbrush was wet when I picked up the paint, so it's not quite so bad, I don't suppose. But this is just quick tabletop painting of Mr MLG's minis just to get them ready for his game. Of course, there are plenty of different ways of painting miniatures to get them how you want them, whether you want wonderfully glorious paint jobs or quick, get them on the tabletop paint jobs like this one. I'm assuming that that bit under there would also be part of this cloth. It's kind of going all the way around and then over the back at the other side. Not sure what to do with this front bit yet. We'll have to have a little thinky about that. I don't know whether that should be red as well. Might do it blue just so that there's not so much red. So what I've done with the other ones is all the metally type parts, I have done them blue and gold. So I don't know if you can see on this one. So all of these bits and pieces, I've done them blue and gold. So I might do this skirty bit on this guy blue we'll see how much red he ends up with. And as you can see, I've got some paint on his leg. What I could do is rinse off my brush, get some water on it, give that a good splush off with the water, and as you can see, we'll just take it off onto a cloth, and that's gone now. If I left it any longer, it would have dried. It's quite warm in here because the heating's on. It is actually snowing outside, so it would have dried quite quickly. As you can see, the paint is drying quite quickly. I'm going to get it off straight away, and then it's gone. If I didn't, I'd just paint over it, and it would all be fine. So that's the first bit of red. As you can see, the corn red is quite a pinky red. And then what we're going to do after we're finished is highlight it up with the Holly Berry, which is just a bright red from Reaper. I do like Reaper paints. Use them quite a lot. So while we're thinking about that, what about his head? He's got like a headdress on. I think that should be red too, because that kind of reminds me of this guy with his headdress on. So we'll stick with that theme. We'll put some red on this bit as well. Can you see that I'm using my finger to steady myself? Give my other hand some support. So I'm using that as a brace, which is always a good idea to help steady your hand. I haven't got a very steady hand. And as we all know, I'm not anywhere near a fantastically wonderful painter. This is for fun, and Mr MLG plays the games, so it's only tabletop. It's not going to win any awards, but hopefully will look nice as he's moving the pieces around and probably losing in his games of Blood Bowl. Painted minis always look better on the tabletop, and I think they also make the gameplay more fun when the minis are painted. You can immerse yourself more in what's going on, more of the narrative when they're not grey on the table. It does get a little bit more complicated up here. I think that this top bit is going to be red, and then those other bits around the side look like part of his bandages, so they would be in the Ushanti bone. I have had to, as I have grown older, wear glasses for painting. It's the first time ever that I've had to wear glasses, and they are just to help me see the details slightly more, but I still sometimes splodge because I have like that bit there. Look, that bit's supposed to be a bandage. I'm sure I've just painted that red because I can't quite see all of the little tiny details, but I think those bits around his head there are part of his bandages. So the choices then become, I'm going to paint all this blue like the others are, and the trims bits gold. So what colour do we paint his skirt? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint those bits blue now and see, what's that bit? What do you think that bit's part of? I'm going to paint that bit red. So I'll paint this last bit red because I think it's part of the same section as that bit. And then we'll paint the other bits blue and see how much blue compared to red there is, to see how we feel about painting the rest of his skirty bit and what colour we're going to choose for that. So now we're using Ultramarine Blue from Reaper Miniatures. I do like Reaper paint. 09188, available at Mighty Lancer Games, in store in Bridlington in East Yorkshire, and also on our website, of course. And what I did before was painted all of these bits in here blue, with then having the gold trim around there like that. And then afterwards we highlighted it up with a lighter blue. It is a little bit tricky like I said, not the neatest in the world, but hopefully it'll look okay. I was very worried when I started painting this squad. What do you call it? Squad team. Team's better, isn't it? Stop knocking that camera, silly sausage. I was very worried when I started painting this team, mainly because I haven't painted like a full army or a full squad or a full team of anything before. I tend to just paint one thing that I think looks really cool. So one individual mini that I've gone, oh, that looks really good. With me not playing the games, with me just painting because it's fun, isn't it? So because I don't play the games, I don't need to paint a full thing all in one colour scheme. This doesn't seem to have the trim like the other ones did. The other ones had I don't think this has got a trim. Doesn't seem to be a trim around the outside, so I'm there on his neck. On his neck there is, but I don't think there isn't a raised section to make a trim, so I'm just going to go all the way to the edge. Anyway, so got sidetracked again there, didn't I? So with me not playing the games, haven't had to paint a whole army all in one colour scheme. Just get to paint the cool stuff that I like the look of, which tends to just be one mini. So I was slightly worried when I started painting these that I needed to paint them all and they needed to all look like a team. They needed to all be the same, which is why I limited the colours that I'm using to very limited so that I didn't get all carried away and forget what I'd done on one that I needed to do on the rest. But also, that was really bad. It looks really bad. But that's where I found I can see why people call Nuln Oil and Agrax Earthshade magic. Because like I said, I don't normally use it. It's not because I think it's cheating or because I think there's anything bad with it, but it's really, if I'm going to be completely honest, it's because I'm lazy. Now that sounds very opposite, doesn't it? Because most people would say that using the shade is lazy, which is absolute nonsense. You paint however you want, it's your hobby. But I don't use it normally because I am extremely lazy and I don't have any, stop knocking the camera. And I don't have any Citadel paint on my desk. Mr MLG has the Citadel, the Games Workshop paint, over his side. So it is that simple. It's that simple that I am too lazy to go over there and get it. That's terrible, isn't it? So I normally use really thin down black or individually draw little lines where I want the shadowy bits to be. So I normally undercoat in black, which as you see Mr MLG hasn't. It looks like Santa. Oh, sorry. It looks like Santa with that. That might be the only thing I can ever see now every time I look at him. Oh dear. Anyway, so normally undercoat in black because I find that helps with the bits that I may miss. You know, the bits that are hard to reach now look like shadow because they're black, because I undercoated in black. So tend to not use a shade because I'm too lazy to reach across the desk and get it, and because I've already kind of got my shadows and stuff. But when I was painting these, I was really worried. I was really worried because they're full of detail, and I was worried that I was missing all this detail and making it a bit messy, as you can see. Oh, this green colour, by the way, is the Witch's Brew. I'd already done that beforehand. So that's why it's already green. So I was worried that they were just going to look really, really rubbish. But then when you put the Agrax on, which is the one that I'm using, or your Nuln Oil, it is amazing how much difference that makes, which we will see when we get to that bit, which won't be long. So I'm glad that it worked because I was really kind of stumped as to how I was going to make them look better than this. This is basically just undercoat colours, isn't it? And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to like, do all this highlighting, and I'm going to have to really make some genuine effort somewhere here, because it's looking a bit naff. And then you put the Agrax on, and it just does it all for you. It's so bizarre. So I can see why people like it, especially for getting your armies done and on the table and games being played, which is, you know, the second part of the fun, isn't it? Painting up your minis and then getting your mates together at Mighty Lancer Games on the gaming floor, playing games, having fun, making memories. It's very difficult to make memories nowadays. When I was younger, we used to go out all the time. Not necessarily drinking, but that was involved. But we made memories, and then when we meet up now, very rarely, twice a year, we force ourselves to go out because life takes over. So we have to. Otherwise, we definitely wouldn't see each other enough. But when we meet up, that's what we're talking about. Those daft things that we used to do, those memories. Oh, I remember when we did that. I remember when we did this. It's very hard to make those memories nowadays with all this technology, and no one seems to do stuff, go out and do stuff. So getting these games in with your friends, like the time that we did for charity, the 24-hour Blood Bowl, absolutely insane. Built and then played games, built, painted, and then played games of Blood Bowl for 24 hours to raise money for CALM, Campaign Against Living Miserably, on the shop floor. Absolutely nuts. But it's a memory. It's things, oh, remember when we did that? Remember when we were so hungry and we couldn't find any food because it was 4 o'clock in the morning and no one had opened? You know, we really need to plan better for that next time. Memories. Hobbies make memories. Playing with your mates and things. So there we go. It looks a bit like Santa. What I'm going to do next is use the Shushanti bone, which I'm sure I'll probably say wrong, and do the bits of bandages and things before, because I've still not 100% decided on what colour his skirt's going to be. I do quite like, I don't use many Citadel colours, but I do like the layer colour, the Citadel colour, layer colour, Ushanti bone, and the Terramata stone. No, that's not how you say that either, is it? But you know which one I mean, don't you? I know you know which one I mean. Put in the comments what it's called, and then I know that you're with me in this babble of that colour. You know that colour, but that colour's cool. Mine is a dry. In fact, it's right here. I'll just show you, couldn't I? This one, Terminatus stone. Mine's a dry one. I don't know if they do not dry. Take a look at the website, my website, mightylancergames.co.uk, and see. But mine's a dry one. I don't know why I've got a dry one, unless it's because it's the only one that they do. It don't matter. It just means that it's designed for dry brushing, but you can, I just water it down a bit, be fine. For the little bits that I use it for, I don't use it for lots of stuff. So it's meets the purpose that I need it for. But I do like Reaper Miniatures paints. They're cool. See, that bit's not supposed to be red there. What's your favourite paint manufacturer? Do we sell it? We sell lots. I mean, absolutely loads. So manufacturers of miniature paints that I can think of off the top of my head that we sell at Mighty Lancer Games. Is that the only bandages? Oh no, he's got some around his elbow. We have Citadel colour. We have Vallejo. We have two thin coats. We have Dark Star. Mr MLG really likes Dark Star. He's been using them for years. They are metal paints. So, you know, silvers and coppers and whatever. And then once they are dry, you can polish them and get an even shinier shine on them. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Anyway, Dark Star paints, two thin coats, if I said that. Humbrol, We sell Umbro paints in the dropper bottles, those ones. We sell Tamiya paints. We sell Colourforge sprays. The Colourforge sprays are the ones that we use at home. I know lots of people like the Games Workshop Citadel sprays, but we much prefer the Colourforge sprays. I think Mr MLG has probably done a video on the difference, and I did a video once showing you some of the minis painted in them so you could see what colours they were. We have a few bits of Green Stuff World left. We are stocking Green Stuff World. We sell Army Painter and the Fanatics and all the ranges of those. We sell the paint markers as well, and the Army paint markers too. Absolutely sure that I'm missing some glaringly obvious paint ranges that we sell, but I can't think. I'm trying to walk down the paint aisle in my mind. My main problem with that is I have one of these brains. Like, let me know if you have. There's a name for it, which again I can't remember. Pop that in as well. I hate these paint pots. Look at the state of them. You can put a paintbrush in there to stop it falling if you want. My paintbrush in there will stop it. We'll keep it open, just in case you didn't know that. Anyway, I have one of these brains that doesn't see images. So I have an internal monologue, I talk to myself basically. I have a couple, which is sometimes a bit strange because they talk to each other. That might be just a me thing. But I don't have images. So if you said to some people, picture an apple, they could see an absolute clear vision of a beautiful, crunchy red or green apple, a picture of that in their mind. You say to me, picture an apple, and I know exactly what an apple looks like. I could describe an apple, I could tell you what it looks like, but in my mind is just black. We had a conversation about this on the Discord where I said that my poor internal monologue, my little man, because I can't quite decide either whether my monologues are male or female. It's just a voice. That's also weird. My poor little man is just sat in the dark, sat in a chair waiting for me to talk to myself, basically, or read something. I hear it when I'm reading. It reads to me in my brain. So which kind of brain have you got? Some people have it where they've got an internal monologue and they can see images. Some people have just got one. I don't know if there's anybody that doesn't have any. Oh, that'd be quite sad if you've got nothing going on up there. Just darkness. Oh no, I won't want that. I'm glad that my little person talks to me. Which I'm fully aware there isn't actually a person in my brain. I mean, there's enough room up there for an extra person. So what have you got? Have you got, can you see pictures? It also doesn't help, I don't think, that I can't visualise things in my mind. So when I'm coming to paint something, such as this, and Mr MLG says, oh, he painted these colours. I can't see what that's going to look like. I don't go, oh yeah, that'd look cool. I can't see it in my mind. Oh, big splodge. Metal colours are harder to get rid of if you splodge. They tend to leave a bit of a shiny residue. So for example, this mini that we're painting here, thinking about what colour that skirt is, some of you might be able to look at this and then see in your mind it painted blue or it painted red. I can't do that. I don't know what it's going to look like until I paint it. I'm also absolutely horrendous at colour theory. So most people would say, well, the colour wheel and colours that are opposite kind of clash and stand out, and colours that are next to each other complement each other well, and those colours are going to go well together, etc. Nah, I have a colour wheel in front of me, and I understand that those two colours would look nice together because they're next to each other, or those two colours are going to be a bit more poppy because they're far away from each other. But it still doesn't really compute. I still couldn't say to you, oh, these beautiful combinations will look absolutely amazing on this mini. the people in our Discord. Our Discord is very heavy in people who paint. There are some gamers, obviously, and there are games that are talked about, but it is mainly just light-hearted nonsense, talk about doing the washing and the weather and stuff, and a lot of people that actually paint minis. So for fun, you know. So it's quite heavy into that. And they're just beautiful. And you think, wow, those colour combinations, the way that you've put those two ideas together, that's stunning. I could never do that. And then I think, oh well, let's have a go, you know, let's try putting that, I don't know, that purple and that pink, say, together. But then I've not picked the right hues. I've not picked the right kind of purple. I've not picked the right kind of pink, and then it just looks silly. So I'm not very good at that. As we've been going along, I always say I am a new painter. But then the years tick by, and you're like, when do you stop calling yourself a new painter? So I'm going to stop calling myself a new painter when I get any better at it. I think that's what we should do. When I look at something and go, actually, that's all right. I mean, it's never going to be, wow, that's awesome. When I can look at something and go, yeah, I don't mind telling people I've painted that. Like, I'll send Mr MLG off with these, but they're his now. So, you know, don't say to anyone that I've done it. But I think not when, because it's probably never going to happen, but if I ever get to the point where I say, actually, look at that, I quite like that, I did that, then I might stop calling myself a new painter. I don't think the years are really what's going to do it for me. I don't paint often enough. I might have been painting for a few years now, but I've only painted, you know, I don't know, 40 things, say. I don't know, there's it'd be more than that, but I haven't kept a record. I've kept pictures. I like pictures because my brain doesn't, as we've discussed in the past, it doesn't work very well, and it doesn't see images. I do like taking pictures of stuff, which has come in very handy in the past for friends and things. Like, oh, do you remember that? Yeah, I've got a picture of it. It's right here. I was always the one at school. We didn't have phones. I'm that old that phones were not invented. I was born before Google, as you will know. We had cameras, proper cameras. I still have a Polaroid camera in the cupboard, but hasn't got any film. But yeah, proper cameras. And I was really, really, really excited at school because I had a camera, and you could put the date on, and it printed then onto the film with the date that you'd taken the picture. And you could write words. You could write happy birthday on it and things, and it kind of burnt it into the bottom of the picture in bright orange. It looked awful, but looking back now, it looked really bad. But at the time, it was absolutely amazing that we could write on the picture, and not just scroll it in Biro on the back ones that had them printed. And now you can do all sorts of stuff, can't you? It's nuts what you can do now when you think about it. But yeah, I like pictures, and I've got absolutely no idea what that conversation stemmed from. Just trying to get his belt painted without wobbling all over the place. Again, can you see I'm using my little finger to kind of brace so that it's not quite so wobbly. I do like these painting handles. These are the Citadel painting handles. These are the version 2. I don't think I've got a version 1 to hand, but they were a lot chunkier. When these new versions first came out, we didn't really see the point because they already had painting handles and they worked perfectly fine. So we did a short video a long time ago when they very first came out, going, well, what's the difference? But actually, there is a difference. These are so much better, and I really like them. And I even use them for my Reaper minis, which don't fit because they're not on Citadel bases, but I just use a bit of blue tack in the bottom there. That's for great brush off. Was theme for January is the end of the world as we know it, so I was painting a zombie. Join in with the great brush off. It's just for fun. It's a painting challenge on our Discord where every month we have a theme that you pick a miniature from whatever range you want and you paint it to that theme. And it's just for fun. It's for all ages, all abilities. It is not judged in any way. We just love seeing the creativity of painting miniatures from all people. It's really cool. And our Discord is such a friendly place as well. And we keep it friendly. If anybody's mean, they're leaving. We're not having none of that lark. Sometimes people ask for help and they put a picture up and they ask for constructive criticism. There is a massive difference between asking for constructive criticism and just being horrible to somebody. And we don't tolerate horribleness. It's not happening. I'm very strict in my Discord. And we don't have any touch wood. Somebody touch some wood for me. They are lovely people. It's very small. It's very tightly compact. Everybody's just chatting. Hopefully, because it's like that, it's not scary when you first join. I am in some larger Discords, like the Reaper one, which is obviously massive because Reaper are huge. They're not a little tiny family-owned game shop in a seaside town where we don't see any customers for half the year because it's a seaside town and nobody comes because it's freezing. Reaper's huge, so their Discord is huge, and sometimes I get quite scared because I go on and think I have absolutely no idea what anybody is talking about in here. You know, which isn't Reaper's fault. It's not the people in the Discord's fault. It's just there's a lot happening because there's a lot of people all talking about stuff. Whereas you tend to come in our Discord and you can just scroll up a little bit and see that oh they're just talking about toast. Right, I could join in with that. I had some toast today. It's a bit like that in ours. We originally set up the Discord during COVID. Do we remember that? Do you remember when that happened? Because we were running a kids D&D before COVID, and obviously they couldn't come into store and play. So we set up the Discord so that they could play. That was just chaos. Our Discord is family friendly. No naughtiness, no rude, no naughty words, etc. Which some of the members do struggle slightly with. Because some memes and things obviously aren't family friendly, but they're generally quite good. But that's why, because we're a family friendly store, so you know we're aimed at all ages, and we want everybody to enjoy their hobby. But it was originally set up for the kids to play their D&D. But yeah, it was a bit like herding cats, with the kids D&D online. Fun though. The kids enjoyed it. Right, so you can see how messy this is, right? Just, I'm going to get in there with the red and just touch up those little bits. Again, right, we need, you're supposed to have, technically, separate water for metals and for non-metal. Because obviously now my water's got bits of floaty gold in it. Again, I'm just naughty. I don't do any of the things that you're supposed to do because it's just for fun. And so now I've got floaty pigment paint water added into the mix of terrible painting. So yeah, on the Discord, join in. Just come along, join in. It's fun. We talk about all sorts of nonsense, and we have painting challenges and the great MLG brush off, which was named by the Discord community. Everything's basically led by the Discord community. So we have a poll to decide on the themes and things like that. We have a Secret Santa, which is currently still not quite concluded. despite the fact that we're in January, because the post was terrible this year, and some things have wandered off, and other things have got lost and stuff, so it's been a bit rubbish. But it's fine, because it'll all resolve itself in time. And we're currently just trying to guess who we think has painted what from the images that we have so far. And I am absolutely terrible at it. But again, it's all just for fun. It's all just for the fun of tabletop gaming and hobbying and trading card gaming. It's also where you can find out bits and pieces slightly before anyone else, because I do tend to be on there every day. So if I know something's happening, like an event's coming up or a sale's happening or whatever, they do tend to get a slight heads up before anybody else, because I'll just be chatting about it. It's also, the Discord is also where our terrible gifts came from. Some of them even I don't understand anymore. There's a Mighty Lancer Games gif out there that you can use if you want. There is a Poppadom with arms flexing its muscles, and I've got no idea why I made that. So I've made them all. It's my fault. But they stem from conversations on the Discord, and I can't remember what that conversation could possibly have been about. There's also one which is an original Thunderbird, which is a plastic washing up bottle. It's things like that. Most of them are just me pulling stupid faces, to be fair. And Gizmo, our Red Fox Labrador. He features in a few as well. Right, so as you can see, we still haven't painted that skirt bit. Right, stick it down in the comments what colour you think. I don't know if it should be bandages. It doesn't look like bandages. That's the issue that I'm having, but I don't know if that colour, just a neutral colour, would look better and maybe stop his head looking like he's wearing a Santa hat. I don't know. I'm really torn. Because if I paint it blue, I think that's too much blue. If I paint it, what's everybody else? You see, this guy's got a red skirt. This guy's got loads of red. I mean, he's got a massive, great big hood on his. Yes, I have a big hood. Yeah, okay. Right, we're going to do it red. We're doing it red. I think that's a terrible choice, but that's what's happening. Oh dear. It's too late now. Decisions have been made. Decisions have been made. And we've got to stick with them. That's it now. Corn red is the colour of your skirt, mate. Yep. Here we go. Oh, what you could also do for me is let me know what you actually think to this video. So I haven't done a video like this before, I don't think. Normally if I'm painting something, I do the video and I speed up my painting, mainly so you can't see how bad I am. I speed up my painting and add some music. Royalty-free music is the only type of music that we can add, so that bit's really difficult. Trying to find music that I like, that I think you will like, that some absolutely amazing person has provided royalty-free that I can use. I always try my best, and I know that I do fail at this, but I do always try and remember. Because, well, let's finish the sentence before I wander off again to something else. So I always try and remember to add on the person that has made the music, the composer, the creator. I always try and say, this music's by blah, blah, blah. Because they've gone to the trouble of making that and providing it. And if they didn't, then I wouldn't have any music at all, would I? So the fact that they have is very kind of them. So I always try and credit them. But I do sometimes fail miserably at it, mainly because I use my telephone, which is what I'm using now, which is why I keep knocking the daft thing, to film and to edit. I use the word edit very loosely because it's me, my mobile phone, and my finger. I haven't even got one of those pen things, that you can get a bit more precision when you're using a screen. I haven't even got one of them. It's just me and my finger moving bits and pieces around to try and put videos together. So I hope that you appreciate that. But I seem to have painted his thumb gold. But normally in the videos that I do where I am painting, I speed it up and add some music. So this, me chatting for this long and showing you actually how I paint. Now this is this is Army Painter. This is an old one, so I do have to water this down because old Army Painter paint is so thick. But I just need to stop his thumb being gold. This wasn't really the paint colour that I intended for these guys, but this is the colour that they ended up, so there we go. That's why they're kind of weirdly green. So I don't normally do videos like this. I normally speed it up, add some music to it, and you don't have to listen to me waffling on. But I need to know, please, in the comments below, if you are actually enjoying this style where I'm literally showing you everything that I've painted, not skipping any bits. This is it. And then talking constantly. We have got a new podcast channel-y bit in our YouTube, born from Mr MLG's doing questions and answers for our 10th birthday celebration. So 2026 is Mighty Lancer Games' 10th birthday, and as part of that we asked you to send in any questions that you've got, and he would answer them as honestly as he could. So because it was just him in a room, I filmed it obviously, but then we added this little podcasty bit. So I don't know if I could put this in a podcast because it is just me yaggering on, isn't it? So what do you think to this style of video where I'm showing you exactly what I'm painting and talking while doing it? What do you think? Let me know if it's no good. So this is how bad it looks, and this is what I went with and thought, oh my, when I've painted the first one, Mr MLG is not going to be happy. But I thought, well, we'll just trust the process. So then I had the Citadel colour shade Agrax Earthshade. This is a browner one. The Null Oil is black, Earthshade is brown. And once this is dry, I'm going to splodge this all over it. I'm going to just trust the process. Here we are, back again, ready to use the Agrax Earthshade. Now, this is notorious for chucking itself over. There are so many memes and whatever. I'm going to pop it in the middle of my palette so that if it does chuck itself off, and at least it should only really pool in there and not all over my desk. We'll see. I'm using a much thicker brush. What number is this? Don't know, it's worn off. 8, I think. And I'm just going to, this is scary, I'm just going to splodge it all over. Now you can control the pooling. You can control the pooling with your paintbrush that you're using, with a cotton wool bud if you want. This might be again very controversial. I like the pooling. Yeah, I like the effect that the big black splodges of shade provide. I don't know why, but I do. So I am splodging it all over. Now I will take some of the pooling out of certain areas to help still show the detail. But it really is personal preference with absolutely everything that in your hobby. Personal preference of what miniatures you're going to paint in the first place. personal preference of how you paint them, what you want them to look like, how neat a paint job that you do on them. So some people would say that's absolutely horrendous. And people do tell me in the comments how awful my painting is, which is always nice. Brush control, they seem to have a major issue with my brush control. I mean, it's not affecting their hobby in any way, is it? But hey ho. So some people will think this is terrible idea. But can you see it's bringing out, it does bring out some of the detail. It's very strange as it's going into all those nooks and crannies and showing you where all the shadow is. It is cool. I must admit, I do like it, and I can see why people use it. But yeah, if you don't like some of the areas that it's collecting in, that it's pooling in, then just take that out. Like I said, I do quite like it when it pulls. I also like the effect that it gives over the top of the Retribution armour. It is quite shiny when it dries. That's the only issue I have. But then I do use over the top of it the Green Stuff World Max Matte. Not quite sure what I'm going to do once this all goes, because like I said, we won't be stuck in Green Stuff World again due to lots of reasons which I've covered in another video. But that's the only issue I have. Now in the old days, Citadel Colour used to do a gloss Agrax and a gloss Null Oil, and that was kind of designed for the brass, because once I dull this down, once it's dry, and I dull this down with my matte varnish, the gold obviously doesn't shine. You can go over, I'm sure I went over some of them again with the gold just to pick out, I picked out some bits, I don't know if you can tell, I don't know why I'm holding that wet one. Just went back over again and picked out some of the gold bits, not all of them, to add back in the shine. So you can absolutely definitely do that, of course. But I do kind of quite like the way that the Agrax looks on the gold colour. As you can see, it's pooling around his bum. If you don't like that, you can just take it off. Use your paintbrush there. Look, you see, it just sucked it back up. Or a cotton moldboard or whatever. Or just leave it. It's up to you. Now this needs to dry. This does take a while to dry. So we're going to come back once it's dry. Hopefully you can see how shiny it is. With the shade on. Now you could leave it like this. Absolutely. Why not? That's not what I am after. So I am going to use my big brush again and some of the Green Stuff World Max Matte varnish. So it's basically matte varnish, but really, really matte. And I like it. But any matte varnish will obviously do the same thing. You could, if you wanted to, only put it on the places that doesn't have any gold, doesn't have any shiny. Or you could do what I said earlier and put it all over like this. Don't worry, it does dry clear. It looks white, but it does dry clear. So you could put it all over like this and then touch back up the gold bits if you wanted to. I did that on a couple of them, but I didn't do it on all of them. Let's see if Mr MLG notices that I haven't done it on all of them. He might be like, how come that gold's really shiny on that one, but it's not shiny on this one? I'm like, oh, I don't know. That would be mean, wouldn't it? He probably won't notice, so it'll be fine. So you can tell once you've done this and it's dry if you've missed anywhere, because that bit will look even shinier. Say I missed under his chin or something like that. Like, wow, look how shiny that bit is. And then you can just go back in, add a little bit more. So even though it looks like a nice creamy white colour, it does dry clear. So there we go. We'll see what that looks like. And I think while that's drying, going to paint the base black. I'm just going to, I can't see my black. Oh, that's yellow. That's not black, is it? Can't see my paint. I've put the black backdrop up here. I can't see it. That's a really good yellow. 2 thin coats, skulky yellow. It's a really good coverage yellow. There is a video on our YouTube. There's a video for everything. Everything beginner that you can think of, we have a video for it. There's a video on that I just paint some stuff yellow with different yellows and see what they look like. Pure black from Reaper. Awesome black 09037. I used my nice, this is my mucky palette, look at the state of that. I used my nice clean one for that max matte so that it didn't pick up any residue, and I will use that nice clean one again when I use the PVA glue later. So I haven't said that I use black, but it's because I'm only using it for the base. We've moved away, haven't we, from painting them green, doing the trims green to black. Black is my happy colour anyway, so that's fine. So I'm going to put this black all over. Now, some of the first ones that I didn't paint the base itself black. The rim's black. Yeah, I can get in that bit once I take it out the painting handle. But I didn't paint the base itself black. I just put the sand basing over the top. And you can tell the difference, obviously. Hopefully when they're on the tabletop and at a distance from your eyes, because that's the other thing you've got to remember. You're not looking at a tabletop mini right up here up close like this, are you? It's miles away. But I didn't paint them black, and then when I put the basing sand on, the bits where they didn't stick, you can see that I hadn't painted the base black. But then I have put some tufts on as well, so I don't think it's really. Can you shift out the way, drying person? Can you see where it's not quite gone to the edge, and you can see that it's not black underneath? And then the ones where I did paint it black, which I can't even think was this one, yeah. The sand looks darker because obviously underneath is a darker base coat. But I don't think it's a game changer. I don't think that this lion person is going to hold the ball any better than that one just because the base is ever so slightly darker. Another side note, this lady here, she has all of these bandages. She's mostly bandage. She's mostly mummy. And then she had all of this beautiful flowing hair, and Mr MLG had painted, undercoated them, sprayed them with probably a bony, it was like an off-white primer. And I didn't know, again, because I'm useless, I didn't know what colour to paint the hair. So I literally left the primer and then just put Agrax Earthshade over the top. And I rather quite like that effect. I think that kind of blends in quite well with her look. I did repaint her boobs. Did you just come back over from the second monitor there? I did repaint her boobs, the armour on her boobs. I gave them a back there shine because I thought that was quite funny. So that's what I did with that one. This one has got the max matte on, and as you can see it drying, and you can see it making things matte. It is rather quite magical. It will take a little while to dry, and so will the base. And then what I'm going to do then is use the lighter blue, which again, I can't remember what colour this is because you can't read the label anymore, but it's basically just light blue. And this one is Holly Berry, but again, any light red. This one's from Reaper. They're both from Reaper. I like Reaper paints. And then I'm just going to do a few tiny little highlighty bits. I like this, look, just highlight up the blue and stuff, just quite rough. I am not going to go in and highlight up the bandages, which you could, and I'm not going to go back in and highlight up the skin, which you could. I don't know if I did that on this one. I think I went back in on this one and just highlighted back up his abs and his skin. I think I did that on this one. Yes, I did. So that adds a bit more definition, a bit more depth, Can you see the difference? Hopefully you can see the difference, and it's entirely up to you. So all I did there was go back in with that same base colour and just go over it again after I'd done the Agrax. I'm not going to do that one with this one. This is what it looks like once the Max Matte has dried. Now it has dried a little bit quick here because like I said, the heating's on, and the heating is underneath here. So it's dried a little bit faster than it normally would, but I don't think it's really made that much difference. Really, it's looking quite matte, isn't it? So what we're going to do now is use the blue and the red. Like I said, I'm going to use those to highlight up the bits that are already blue and red. So I'm collecting a bit of paint off of my palette and then just using the towel that's at the side of me, which is like a blue roll, to take off some of the excess water. And I'm just adding in some more blue basically over the top of what's already there. I'm trying to just make it look alright. So that it doesn't look as dull as it does currently. Just adding in some tiny little, almost paint strokes, I suppose you could say. Not edge highlighting, literal paint strokes splodging about on them, just so it says, look, I'm blue. Look at me being all blue. Is that what it's screaming to you? Does it look like it's going, hello? I was blue paint before she put all that Agrax all over me. Basically just picking out the colour again. Again, you could edge highlight, you could do whatever you want. But that is not what I'm doing. So there we go. And as it dries, it gets a little bit duller. So you can go back over it again if you wanted to. And then we're going to do the same with this Holly Berry, which is the red colour from Reaper. And now this time I'm going to try and pick out the raised areas of the cloth with the Holly Berry. So all those raised areas, so that the Agrax and the corn red, the darkened down corn red, sit in the darker recesses and act as the shadows. That's the plan. I quite like the Holly Berry. It's a nice bright red. And like I said, the corn red, it's like a pinky red, isn't it? That's quite nice too. I do tend to use those two colours the most, again, because I'm lazy. And they're on my desk. But also because they're on my desk because I like them. So it's kind of all right in that circumstance, isn't it? We have painting racks, and they're in the cupboard literally next to me. But I have the Reaper and the Vallejo and a few Green Stuff World paints in mine. There's probably a few other mix in there as well. And Mr MLG has the Citadel, and he has the contrast. He likes the contrast paints and the speed paints and stuff. He has those. I have only ever used those once. We had to literally speed paint some zombies for a Halloween zombie game that we were playing, and we needed them fast, so we used the speed paints because there are only zombies on those, and that's the only time I've ever used the speed paints. So I'm not really very good at the technique for them. It's not something that I've learnt yet. I'm still trying to just learn holding a paintbrush there. So there you go. Now, as I said, if you wanted to, you could make some of his gold bits shiny too. So I will show you what I did on that lady's boobs over there. So I just went back over ever so slightly over some of the raised parts just to make those bits a bit more shiny than they are currently, because currently they've got the Agrax on them. And that's all that happened there. Just on little bits that I thought, nah, they could be a bit shinier, couldn't they? No particular rhyme, no reason to it. Just the bits that I thought might look nice. So there he is. What do you think to him? You know what we need to do now? You can be screaming at me like, paint it properly. What we need to do now is do the base. So what I did for the bases was, because I thought that these are like Tomb Kingy people, so they're on the desert is what I was thinking. I'm not actually sure what Mr MLG wanted the basing to be for his Blood Bowl team, but now they're on sand. So I have got some sand. I can't remember what kind of basing sand it is, whether it is just sand. I don't think it is, because I have a tub of kids' play sand that we took out of Little Miss's play sand pit from when she was little, and it's too smooth. This sand that I have in this tub, that's been in this tub for a very long time, has got bits of rocks and stuff in it. It might be a Javis mix, because Javis makes some really cool scatter mixers like this. Really awesome paint price point as well. And I also like the Kraut cover. Kadama Woods is amazing. I really like Kadama Woods as well. Slightly more expensive than the Javis, but super cool. I don't know what this is. It might be a Javis one, but it's been in this tub for so long. But it's got a mix of all different sorts of gravels and stones and things. So that's what we're going to use on the basing. So what we need now is some PVA glue. I'm going to swap out my manky palette, if I can, and stick that over there and get my nice clean one, so that I don't pick up any colour when I'm getting my PVA. So this is just normal kids PVA glue. I'm sure that there is probably a different word for it in different countries, but it's just like kids glue. Is it like Elmer glue or something? This is my pot of old manky brushes, and I need my old brush that I can't find that I can use to spread the glue. That one will do, because you don't want to use a nice brush for glue. So I'm going to use this old brush, pick up some glue and just put it on to the base, and then smoosh it around as evenly as possible, but it really doesn't matter. It's going to have some sand on it, so it's just, it won't dry as evenly and as quickly as each other if it's not quite as smooth as each other, will it? That makes sense. If you've got a big pool of glue somewhere, it's going to dry slower than a thinner bit. Then I'm going to take it off the painting handle, and I'm going to just dunk it into my sand. Here we go. And I'm going to leave him in there for a couple of moments just to give him some time to dry. And then we're going to take him out and we're going to tap off this excess sand. And when we're going to add some tufts, I'm going to rinse my brush, get the glue off so it doesn't go hard. And the tufts that I have been using on these guys are these. So Gamer's Grass and the Army Painter. Army Painter frozen tufts, and Gamer's Grass wild beige 2mm, because I wanted them to look, I wanted some tufts to add some more texture, but I wanted them to look dead because they're in the middle of the desert, and I didn't want them to look lush and green. So this one here is the frozen one, and that one there is the Gamer's Grass beige. So that's what they look like in situ. I'm going to put those on. I'm going to use a old pair of tweezers because I find it easier to get them off the sheet with the pair of tweezers because I'm not as dexterous as I once was. And I'm going to use a bit of PVA just to make sure that they stick on as well. So this is the sheet. This is how they come. They're already pre-glued, but like I say, it does help sometimes just to use some PVA to add extra hold. So I've tapped off the excess sand, and as you can see, there's lots of lovely gravel and stuff. There isn't a lot of sand stuck on there. Normally I would have left it a little bit longer, really, I think. Pick off a tuft. That sticky pad there will stick, but I'm just going to dip it in my PVA and then just going to place them. Just not too many, just on the base. It is hard as a human to place things randomly because we are kind of designed, even when you're trying to place things randomly, to place things logically, if that makes sense, in an order, in a pattern. So just whack them on, be right. I'm going to put 3 on this one. Look at me. One behind his foot, giving him some, like he's got little hairy feet now. And I'm going to move those out of the way because there's not a lot of room. And then the base needs touching up, but also once this is dry completely, I'm going to flood the base with the PVA that I've got here mixed with water. In fact, I'll show you now. So I've, again, being lazy, so I've got my water bottle rather than actually going to get some water, which is terrible, isn't it? Just put a bit of water in there, in with my PVA. Use my old brush that I'm using. Mix it up. You see how it's resisting. It's resisting being mixed, but it will mix. Mix it up. Add a bit more water if you want it more runny, or a bit more glue or whatever. And then I'm going to dot that all over the base as kind of like a sealer for all of these bits that are a bit loose, or the little rocks that are sitting off that I want to keep. I want those little rocks to be there. I want that to be part of the look, but I don't want them to be falling off. So I'm going to use this as a sealer because PVA dries clear, as we know, and that will dry and seal it in. So I'll show you. I've done that on all of them. So this one, I did it on. See that rock there? Now there is obviously a likelihood that that rock there is going to fall off, but as you can see, it's a lot more sturdy now that I've flooded it. There's less likelihood, even though when you're playing games, obviously, and especially Blood Bowl, it might fly off. But it's got a bit more of a chance now, hasn't it? And then the rims are all going to be painted with the black from Reaper. And then that's him done. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Please let me know in the comments below if you did or not. Hopefully you did. And these are going to go on the tabletop. Mr MLG is going to play his Blood Bowl games. Hit like, subscribe, and join me in the next one. And hopefully they win some games. Thank you, everyone. Take care.